Thank you, Venus. So let me talk about the interview part that I mentioned before. First, this interview are students studying abroad from Hong Kong to Korea for 1 year already. She is a student studying the Korea University now, and we asked her some questions about her daily communication in Korea and how she applied those patterns that I mentioned before, our group mentioned before, to communicate with others. And there are some questions about that we have asked her before, and I will analyze some of the main questions that I have some idea of it. First is the question 3. It's about compare with the language that she have studied before and the parts that Korean language are clearly different. And the answer of the interviewee is very interesting that I feel I want to analyze it. It's totally different. First, she mentioned that there are formal and informal style that we mentioned before, and the second part is the sentence pattern. For example, the position of the verb. And looking at her answer, we can clearly see that Korean language is totally different with other languages such as the language that we study, for example, Cantonese or English. For the formal and informal style, she also mentioned in question 5. She said that we should care on the pronunciations unless people will misunderstand the meaning and the style of the sentence. That is very interesting. It's because it's a bit different with the points and ideas that we mentioned in the previous 3 points before. Not only the verb choice and also the pronunciation is very important in the communication in Korea. And the second question that I want to analyze is the question 4. It's about have her ever other because of the use of Korean language, and the answer of the interviewee also made me surprised. She said it will usually happen because sometimes, for example, such as my friend, she is a student studying abroad. She sometimes forgets the formal and informal style. Therefore, when she say informal style Korean language to elderly, those elderly will feel so strange and feel a little bit angry on it. In Korean language, the use of formal and informal language need to be clearly separate. There are many news has shown that the misuse of Korean language will lead to a lot of conflict. In my friend's case, she is very lucky. It's because the elderly know her also. Therefore, it just make the elderly feel a little bit angry, but not make a conflict. In the following news, I will show an example of Korean conflict, which is about the misuse of Korean language formal style. In the following news, it shows that it's a news of a conflict about the misusing of Korean language. In the news, an immigrant worker which just go to Korea for 2 years, she casually used an informal style Korean language to talk with his boss, and his boss suddenly got mad and felt angry, keep kicking and punching on him. This makes the immigrant worker very strange and feel question about it. It's because he is an American immigrant worker, and he don't know why he just used some informal language and why the boss is very angry. However, a local worker just tell him to use the formal style to say sorry to his boss. Luckily, the case is just ended with a peaceful way. And this greatly showed that how important of the use of Korean language style is because the boss think that he have a higher status than the worker. Therefore, he want the worker to respect him and use the formal style to talk with him. However, the misuse of the pronunciation and the verb choice of the worker just end up with a conflict. And let me have a conclusion for the presentation. And in this presentation, we can show that the importance of Korean language in showing the politeness. In Korea, language is not only the channel of share the information, but also a way to show the relationship between the communicator. Through the communication way and the language pattern, we can see how close or how far the communicator are. And Korea is also a society with clear social caste, and the use of formal style Korean language is the best way to keep this social law. And also, as our groupmate mentioned before, the main reason to keep The main reason to use formal and informal way is to keep other negative face, even though they are family or close to other, to respect other status and social class. A formal language will be used because it expects the clear social distance. Sometimes we can only use informal way when we are close to other and our social status and age are similar with other. And there are also some examples. For example, for using nickname and say Mr. For example, when we watch some Korean movie or TV shows, it's also say Mr. Wong or Mr. Han. And another example is the polite expression in formal style. For example, we mentioned before there are some expression will use it a lot of time in some formal style. For example, your or simida. And at last, we can sum up with a conclusion is that all of them is to keep other individual space and negative face, and this is clearly bring up with created by the social idea and historical factor. And that's the end of our presentation. And here is the reference list of our presentation. Thank you.